Hey there, Ron Sullivan here, your online hitting consultant. Thought I'd show you a quick drill. I think it's great for kids that are developing and trying to understand how to get the hands started in the first phase of the swing. And this is just an unload drill where a lot of kids have a hard time with taking their hands to the inside, obviously, and most importantly, they do something with their top hand normally in the swing that gets them a little out of position, right? Not to mention when the top hand flattens out back here or starts rolling this phase of the swing, that's exactly what's connected to the bat, and the bat's going to roll or cast or whatever. And so while I wouldn't say this is a perfect drill for every player, I do think it's a great way to introduce how the hands should unload in the swing and help players get to the inside a little bit quicker. Now, what I normally see with players is something that's called elbow drag. I do a lot of evaluations for players, and the first thing that gets here when they get to the slot, so to speak, is the elbow. And when you see players at the highest level, obviously when they work to the inside, the knob works inside of the elbow. Normally I see this orientation is completely the opposite for kids because for one reason or another, they're using their top hand to flatten the bat out the top, or they're rolling their top hand in this phase of the swing, and so their elbow has time to come underneath ahead of the hands. And so obviously that's not a good idea. So what this ball drill does is it attempts to teach players to go the short way. So I literally have just a soccer ball on my elbow. I like to think of this back elbow as kind of a platform for this drill. At least that's how I explain it to the kids. And just give me a platform to let me sit this ball on top of. Okay, and now I want the ball to rest up against the bat. I don't want the ball pinched between the bat and the shoulder, or the bat and the elbow, whatever it may be. It's just literally leaning up against the bat. Well, first and foremost, I think this teaches kids a better attack posture, in that their bat's in a good position here to attack. A lot of times you see so many different variations of this where a player will have the bat pinned behind their neck. It'll be real flat over their shoulder, what have you, but it gives them a good idea of what the feeling should be when they're in this phase of the swing. Now, the hard part of this drill is teaching players to unload the correct way. Now, most of your players, when they first do this drill, they're going to unload the ball with their elbow. So it's very important in the very beginning that you teach the players, hey, when we swing, we're going to unload the ball with our hands. And so the more you emphasize that, the more you're going to see a better sequence of that backside unloading correctly. Instead of the elbow flapping down and then the hands taking off, you're teaching them a better so-called connection or relationship to the overall, driving unit, right? And so by getting them to unload with their hands as well, you're starting to teach them some pretty good habits. Now, I'm basically a rotational instructor, but one of the things that I've learned about rotation is that a lot of players are using their body to rotate the barrel around. And I don't think that that's exactly what's happening in the swing. And so when we do this drill, you'll start to see if players start to unload with their hands, their front shoulder, right, will respond to the unloading of the hands. In other words, if you have a player that kicks his front shoulder out, his or her front shoulder out, they're probably doing it because they're rotating their body to rotate their hands around. And that's not really, I don't think, the goal that we want to teach our kids. I think we want to teach our kids to let the hands or the body respond to the hands as they work to the inside. We don't want the body dragging the hands around. Okay, and so this is a really great starter drill just to get players that don't have a really good idea, particularly if you got an elbow dragger, right, that likes to flap his elbow down and then pull his hands around, or if they tend to flatten their hands out and roll their top hand in this first phase of the swing. This is a great drill for them to learn a short way to get to the ball. And that's really the name of the game, I think, particularly with kids that are learning. You don't want to start teaching them to how to swing around the ball, that's for sure. We're trying to get to a position where we can drive through the ball, right? And so, it's a great drill to do without a tee or with a tee, one or the other. And here's just a bunch of examples of guys that are basically doing, the same move. I'm not here to say this is exactly how the swing works, but I am pretty confident that it's a better way to teach players that are young that have casting issues or elbow draggers. This is a great way to teach them the right feeling. All right, and you see here's Castellanos making basically the same move here in the beginning with that elbow back as he starts to drive the hands to the inside. And you see that front shoulder is responding to the hands. It's not the front shoulder and the body pulling the hands around. Great example of a power hitter here, Prince Fielder in the cage, right? As he's working, you're going to see he's going to work in that same slot with the hands and the knob working to the inside first. All right, and then crowd favorite these days, Josh Donaldson with the same basic move in that his hands are out racing and outpacing that back elbow, right? And so it's just a great drill to help players learn how to get the hands to the inside. Is it the end all, be all of all drills? No, but it's something fun to work with kids to get them feeling the correct move to the inside. And particularly players that are over rotational, if they spin their body to turn their hands around, that's a really bad idea. So, like any drill, this is going to take some time for the player to learn and develop, especially if they have some habits already of some of the bad things that we talked about before. But that's why I'm here. I would love for you to, if your player is trying this drill at home, I would love for you to send me the video, and maybe I can help you work out or troubleshoot some of the problem areas and help them get better and better at this move that's so important, obviously. Again, my name's Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. I appreciate you watching. Thanks.